Let's take a closer look at the ACMI business model itself. Now, one description that does come up about the group is that the group is a group of AOCs that service airlines during their peak seasons, obviously to help boost yields. And a word that comes up within that description is infrastructure, right? You refer to the airlines and the AOCs as infrastructure. What's the significance of using that word infrastructure being around the world? What's the significance of that?
So this is one of the historical entry barriers why airline companies was not switching capacity from one continent to another continent, because we have 200 plus countries. We have different standards, EASA, FAA, ANAC, and etc., DGCA, and aviation authorities responsible for the flight safety for the domestic market and from the flights out of that country. Basically, there is no one united system, and it's probably very similar to the banking system. If you want to transfer money, whatever, from Canada to Australia, you need to have a bank in Canada. Central Bank of Canada regulates money laundering, all the rules. And receiver in Australia also is a bank, via bank, and that bank regulates by Australian Central Bank. So basically, you cannot transfer opening the Canadian bank branch in Australia and serve Australian customer without bearing in mind that you're in other jurisdiction and you have a different authorities. So similar is here. Europe is 1.2 billion passengers, and this is by size number one market in the world. Second one is USA, is around 1 billion passengers. But our countercyclical markets in at least 10 times smaller. So we indicated for ourselves 11 countries, which by the size consolidated will be equivalent to Europe. So we will fly in Europe 6 months in summertime, and we'll fly up to 5 months in those counter-cyclical countries, and it's very easy. It's Thailand, it's Malaysia, it's Australia, it's Philippines, it's India, it's Brazil, it's Mexico, Chile, and Canada. 1 month we will dedicate for aircraft for maintenance in our facilities. And we will keep this plan. I think it's unique. I think those who would like to replicate this model, it would take 10 plus years, because in all those countries, we have our presence of maintenance organization, we have our people, our offices, and we have access, and we have participants of local ecosystem. I personally, per year, visiting up to 7 countries. This year I was already in 3 countries. And I personally meeting and representing Ministry of Transportation authorities, Civil Aviation Administration authorities, what our developments, what our attention to the flight safety, what is our organization is bringing to the market, and what is our developing plans. I mean, it's probably a result that I born in small country named Lithuania, and I and my majority of management team, we were not spoiled by the big domestic market. So we were obliged to find the market for us, and our business works if we are covering just all 6 continents. It does not work if we are locked in one continent, because we would impact by the same seasonality, which is temporary.
Now, operating in 6 continents, and you have all this infrastructure around the world, and something that you've also mentioned, which has come up quite a lot in this interview, is the maintenance aspect of the business, which is quite significant, and you've highlighted that it's quite significant. Tell us more about that, because you do have all this infrastructure around the world. How then does the maintenance component fit into that to best help or to sustain and maintain quality of the maintenance of aircraft within the group?
But if you look to the all sizable organizations, behind them, no matter what is outsource trend is important and developing. More and more companies outsourcing, but still all major carriers has as a guarantee, as a backup, strong maintenance branches from Lufthansa, Delta, Emirates, and other airline companies. So we built our group from the maintenance and training. So currently, Technics, it's 7 hangars in the world. It's up to 100 line stations. It's the second player in wheels and brakes, which is basically needs for the operations. We're not in oil business. We're not in the overhaul of engines. We are just in hospital maintenance of engines. But the FL Technics this year will generate more than $500 million revenue. It's a sizable player, and 3,500 people works in that organization. It's a very high profile, very high skilled, and we grew up from 70 people back to 2006. So our goal that within 4 hours flight, we will have access to our hangars. So Australia, it's 6 hours to the Indonesia, but we selected Indonesia as the main maintenance hub for us. We have 2 airports, Jakarta and Bali. And when we'll finish all our expansion in that country, we'll be close to 30 bases, which is sizable maintenance, and we will cover all the Asia Pacific except India with that facility. If we go to the other part of the world, currently we're building in Dominican Republic, Punta Cana Airport, big maintenance facility. It will be 3 stages, and we will finish the first stage. It will be 20 bays. It will cover Brazil, it will cover Chile, it will cover Canada as well. In Europe, historically, we're strong in Lithuania, but Lithuania, after our growth, remain probably number 5th by the size. So we are in Prestwick, Scotland, we're in Stansted in London, we're in Lithuania, 2 airports. We most likely will add 2 more facilities in Central Europe. It will be announced this year. 1 startup, 1 acquisition. Startup means that we'll build hangars from zero. So basically, FL Technics has a plan by 2030 to reach $1.1 billion revenues. Very important fact that FL Technics, 70% their capacity provides to the third party. So we know what is the benchmark of pricing, what is the benchmark service level, and what customers requires. So it's very sustainable measurement when it comes servicing ourselves. So this is a super important, and I think for many startups which arise last 7-8 years in the world, we are far away below us with their own maintenance infrastructure. So we came much more ready. We added a flying part on the existing maintenance part.
Now, in addition to maintenance, the group also has a strong pilot and crew training infrastructure. How is that structured all around the world in supporting the group?
Yes, Asia Pacific region is covered by the Ho Chi Minh. We have a training center in Ho Chi Minh. European part is covered by Paris Orly, Barcelona, and Vilnius, Lithuania. We are not planning to expand with our training centers to Latin America and USA because enough supply, and we know how to buy services. We're quite good in procurement of those services because we have in-house expertise. But we are paying attention. We're paying attention to participate in the marketplaces, staffing marketplaces, platforms. We're on several market platforms. For example, aviationcv.com. This is a huge market platform covering half of the aviation people in the world with their profiles uploaded, and we're helping other companies to recruit people. So we are there, and of course it helps us to feel what is going on, what trends, and to be always secured by enough pilots and enough manpower in our business.
Now, another aspect of that, especially on expansion, be it for AOCs, aircraft capacity, maintenance, training, you've mentioned procurement and acquisitions. What's your strategy or what's your focus when you're looking at acquiring new businesses or setting up new businesses around the world?
I meant procurement when it comes buying services. So because we are producing services, so we know buying tricks. But when it comes to our expansion via mergers and acquisitions, we're constantly looking for the companies. We're constantly in touch with the dozens of companies which are for potential sale. The only thing what we're not doing, we're not trying to buy somebody and to make a kind of the finance engineering, merging and creating artificial unit. This is not our goal. We're buying companies when it comes adding new services, We bought several companies with a lot of licenses, and we build them. We build them additional factories and facilities, and we expanded business in big time. We scaled business in big times. We bought companies which allow us to expand geographically in those geographies we were not before. We bought small licensed airline companies, Skytrans in Australia, just to save a time setting up from zero, and we convert them to the wide bodies ACMI company. Maybe in the future we'll do acquisitions which will be partially connected to buying for ourselves customer, but restructuring, selling some businesses. But we have different ideas in our mind. But definitely, if you look all good global examples, mergers and acquisitions was part of their game.
Now, if you break down ACMI syllable by syllable, aircraft, crew, maintenance, and another important aspect of that is insurance. What's the group's involvement, or what part of the group's ACMI structure is that insurance segment, the insurance aspect?
Yes, of course, because aviation insurance at the end of the day, together with all aviation, is around 6 billion spendings in the world. And for what is the insurance in the aviation? You are not dealing with one insurance company. You are dealing with the list of the number of underwriters mainly in Lloyd's market, and it's a question rightly pack risk for underwriters, which buying piece by piece from the total insurance policy. So it's a question of the skills. It's a question of the knowledge overall in this environment. It's a question rightly present to the underwriters' risks behind each airline company and each AOC. So all our airline companies are or soon will be EASA certified. All our airline companies, AOCs, has additional flight safety requirements, and this probably impressed our insurance partners, underwriters, and we out of that created our own group, AI12. It's a super talented people management from 20 plus years in the industry, and it's help us to provide services to customers who is our customer in maintenance, in training, in ground handling, and which participates in our ecosystem. So out of the internal group, we created a similar like FL Techniques. So AI12 this year will have more than 60% of revenues coming from the third parties. It's ecosystem which likes high quality, good level, and personal high attention from service provider.